What's up, guys? It's Louisiana Cajun Pyrotechnics and Cooking, and today I'm going to be cooking up a good pork roast, smothering it down, making some rice and gravy out of there. So right now, I got some butter, going ahead and melting it down, kind of using it as an oil. And I put about 1 tablespoon of oil just to kind of glaze that bottom of that pot. Alright, just going to set my spoon right there. Then I'm going to put in these, that's just some chopped, pre-chopped, you got bell peppers and onions. That's pretty much all I do for there. Just go ahead and use all of it because you want to get a nice, good, thick gravy. You kind of just let it defrost right here. Leave it on a high fire so these onions get really, really brown. And if it starts to stick, just go ahead and add a little bit of water. I'm going to kind of show you guys once it kind of defrosted. I'm going to go ahead and add some water, show you guys what I'm really talking about. Guys, so the vegetables, they kind of defrosted down. Now they're just kind of searing in the butter right there. And then I also decided to cut a few green onions. As you can see right there, cut a few of those, put that in there. Now we're just gonna let this simmer and sear and cook down for about 30 minutes because you want to get these onions very, very soft and get all the flavor out of them as possible. So I'm gonna get back with you guys after about cooking them down for about 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna show you guys what I do next. Now I'm gonna show you guys what I like to put on my pork roast. Now, if I was to smoke this or put it in the oven, I would have, without no doubt, I would have marinated it for about a day and also would have injected it. But since we're smothering it, we're just going to cook down all that fat and all the seasoning is just going to be marinating itself. Because this cook time takes roughly about 3 hours, I'd say, to get a nice tender pork roast. So first off, I just like to use this little classic. Well, first off, I put some olive oil right there, all on top of it. Kind of spread it evenly so the seasoning sticks good to it. So then we're just going to go ahead and put some sea salt on there. Really bring out that pork flavor. Then I like to just put a little bit of paprika. Find that gives it a really, really nice flavor. Give it a nice color as well. But whenever you marinate, you don't really get to see too much of the color. So, alright, then we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of onion powder. There we go. Get some right there. And there's no specific amount. However much you think you like of a certain seasoning, go ahead and put it on there. See, that's the good thing about cooking. If you don't like certain seasoning, don't put it on here. If you do like it, put it more than something else that you're going to put. That's just the way I look at it, you know. So I don't really measure out anything. I put out to what I think is good, and then I just go with it, you know. Only thing I measure out for is when I'm balling some crawfish, because you got to keep that consistent. All right, next up, I'm going to just go ahead and use some Slap Your Mama today. But if you got Tony Chachere's or any Cajun seasoning, that'll do the job. Go ahead, spread this. This is... For me, this is the most important thing in my kitchen and all my seasonings. Just go ahead and do that. All right. See now, and then now we're just going to let this here kind of sit, marinate while our vegetables over here are cooking down. They got about another 15 minutes to go. So just going to let this sit here. And the fat side, you don't really have to season it if you don't want to because most of that fat's just going to cook down in your gravy. And really, once it cooks down for about 2 hours, you're going to go ahead and cut all that fat, most of the fat off, not all of it, but most of the fat off. And you're just going to get rid of it after about 2 hours. Then it's going to just cook down for about an hour, just on low simmering heat, just for your meat. But I'm going to get back with you guys in about 15 minutes, show you guys the vegetables, and then show you the next step. Alright guys, so our vegetables has been simmering for about 30 minutes now, getting a good, nice brown sear on them. So now I'm going to go ahead and add about a cup of chicken broth. So what I'd like to do for chicken broth, typically, since I don't like to keep the little cans on hand, I just buy the chicken bouillon cubes. Per cube is 8 ounces of water, or 1 tablespoon if you're getting the powder is also 8 ounces of water. But I just like to add chicken broth to this pork roast gravy. Gives it a good flavor, in my opinion. Then we're going to go ahead and add about 2.5 cups of water. Alright. Got that good color right there from that chicken broth. And just go ahead and kind of let this get up to about a simmer. Then once it gets up to about a simmer, then we're going to go ahead and pour our pork roast in there. And then once we put the pork roast in there, we're just going to go ahead, lower our fire down to a simmering heat, close the lid, probably come check on it, probably every 30 minutes roughly. Just let it keep on cooking down. And then after about 2 hours, then we're going to go ahead, take it out, try to cut it up in little pieces. Get all that, most of the fat off because you don't want too much fat in here because whenever you go to serve, you'll just be eating fat at certain points and you just don't want that. That's just not a good thing to do. So I'll just go ahead and get back with you guys on that. Alrighty guys, so I went ahead and put my roast in here, and probably should have used a little bit bigger pot, but it is what it is. So now I lowered my fire down to a lower simmering heat. You can kind of see right there. So now we're just gonna go ahead and let this simmer for about 30 minutes before we come back and check on it and stir and whatnot. And I prefer not to splash water on the seasoning to get it off and put it in the pot, because I find that if you let it actually steam inside and smother inside, it digs down into the meat better, and it gives it a better flavor profile. So that's my suggestion. But if you want to go ahead and throw the water on there, kind of get it more in the water and the chicken broth, go ahead. But I find this is the better way to go about it. So we'll come check it in about 30 minutes. Just let it simmer with the lid, just a little crack. I'll show you guys what I mean. Just a little crack like that, not too big. Go ahead and let that simmer for about 30 minutes. Then we're gonna come back and check on it, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. Alrighty guys, our roast has been cooking for about 30 minutes now. You can see it shrunk quite a bit right here. And you could see that I lowered my fire a little bit because it's starting to get to a ball with the lid on and whatnot. But you can see also the seasoning kind of simmered down real good into that meat. So now what you want to do, kind of just see how tender it really is. We've still got about an hour and a half left. Then we're going to cut it, then let it smother some more. You can just kind of poke it right there with your spoon or fork, whatever you're using. Kind of let all that seasoning now really smother in that roast. See? You can tell it's nowhere near tender as it will be once it's finished, but kind of go poke that like that. Start getting all the juice in from its own marinade and all its own fat, and also that chicken broth. Alright, now we're just gonna go ahead, do the same thing. This time you want to cover your lid all the way. Go ahead, let that simmer for another 30 minutes. We're gonna come back, check the tenderness, just kind of look at it, and I'll give you guys back. Our roast has been cooking for about roughly 2 hours. Then I cut it up in these little small pieces, as you can see here. I like the little fat on there, just give a good flavor profile. But look at this gravy it made, beautiful. So now what I like to add in now is just some kitchen bouquet here. Just add in a little bit because you don't want it too dark, but it gives it a good flavor, gives it a good color. It's probably plenty right there. It's gonna kind of turn black, but as it keeps on cooking, it's gonna turn a light brown color as you want it as a gravy. See what I'm saying? Gonna be really beautiful at the end. Still on a low simmering heat. And one more thing to add, the most important part right here. This is some Louisiana crawfish ball made by Louisiana Fish Fry, or you can get the Zatarain's crab ball. To me, I like this one a little better than the Zatarain's, but they're both really good brands and have a really good flavor. So alright, well, we're gonna let this simmer down for about an hour, and I'll get back with you guys after about an hour. Guys, so this is the last and final progress. It's been cooking for 3 hours now. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. It's super tender. It's probably have great flavor. Haven't tasted it yet, but I can about imagine. Alright, so now the last thing to do is thicken it, because you can see, I mean, it's pretty watery, and nobody wants a rice and gravy like a soup in their plate, you know. So I like to use some of this. This is the cornstarch, the Argo brand. Any cornstarch brand kind of does the same thing, but I like to do about 2.5 tablespoons, and then roughly about the same amount of water. And what you want to do, you just kind of want to pour it evenly like this. And if you got something like that stuck to the bottom, just add a little bit more water to your cup, get it off the bottom, and you want to stir it. See, now it's probably going to lighten up your gravy, but what it's going to do is thicken it. It's going to take a few minutes now, so it's not going to happen instantly. But you close your lid for maybe about 2 or 3 minutes. You come back, it'll be a nice thick gravy, like a gravy should be. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments if you guys like these little cooking videos. If you do, I'll try to do them more often. Or if you guys just want to see mainly fireworks, just go ahead and let me know. I'll be happy to do both of them. But that's going to do it for this video. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.